Thank you, ma'am.
You may call your next witness.
Judge, the state would call Dr. John Martin. Good morning, Dr. Martin.
Good morning.
Could you please tell the court your full name and spell your first and last name?
John Martin. First name John, J-O-H-N, last name Martin, M-A-R-T-I-N.
And, Dr. Martin, I'd like the jury to be able to hear everything that you have to tell us today, so speak up a little bit. That microphone does not amplify it for them, and you don't need to be close to it. It's for the court reporter's purpose. So if you could just speak up in a louder voice. Thank you. Are you familiar with Richard Allen?
Yes, I am.
And how and why are you familiar with him?
He was my patient at the Westville Corrections Center from about November of 22 till about November of 23.
And he W as your patient. What services were you providing? What care were you providing to him?
Psychiatric services.
Psychiatric?
Psychiatric services.
And what are your qualifications to provide psychiatric services to Mr. Allen?
I'm a psychiatrist.
Can you tell us where you got your medical degree?
I got my basic medical education in St. John's Medical College in Bengaluru, in India. I entered St. John's in 1969, and I finished in 1976, after having completed 1 year of rotating internship. After that, I started the psychiatry program. I did 3 years. I got a waiver for the first year of the...
Did you become a licensed psychiatrist in the state of Florida?
Yes, I did.
Did you also?
And that was in 1986.
Did you also?
And after that, I started working.
I'm sorry. Did you also become a licensed psychiatrist in the state of Indiana?
Yes, I'm licensed in 3 states, in Florida, Indiana, and Illinois.
And is your licensure in good standing in all 3 states?
Yes, it is.
And when did you begin work related to the Indiana Department of Corrections?
That was sometime in 2020, so I worked there for almost 4 years.
Prior to that, did you work in the area of corrections as well?
Yeah. After I finished my training in psychiatry, my first full-time job was in the Palm Beach County Jail in Florida, and since 1983, with a few breaks in between when I take some sabbaticals, I have worked almost throughout in corrections, so, and very often, would be working in a prison and then, I'm a workaholic and I like to work a lot, so I would sometimes take.
And so when we say you worked in corrections, just to clarify, are you providing psychiatry services to inmates?
Yes. When I say corrections, I'm including jails and prisons.
Okay.
Because I worked in at least 5 different jails in Florida, I worked in several prisons in Florida, I have worked in female prisons, male prisons, I've worked in reception centers and permanent camps. Besides working in some prisons, I have also visited about 16 major prisons in Florida while working on resolving a big lawsuit from 1972 related to the provision of...
Well, I'm gonna direct.
Services.
I'm gonna direct you to the care that you were giving in the facility where Mr. Allen was then.
Okay. So...
What was the nature of your employment at?
Westville.
The Indiana Department of Corrections during 22 and 23?
Yeah. So July 2020, that's when I started at Indiana State Prison. I was working 40 hours a week there, and then later, I started working an additional 20 hours a week in Joliet, with the Illinois Department of...
Okay.
So that's when while I was working there at Westville, sometime in November, I don't know the exact date, but sometime in November, that's when I first met Mr. Allen.
And so in November of 2022, you met Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Did you establish a place yet at Westville Correctional, at WCU, where you could add notes to your medical records by the time Mr. Allen was a patient? Did you have a place where you could go to make records?
No. I had an office in Westville, it was in one building, and in another building, a very secure facility within the Westville compound, there was this very secure building called WCU, Westville Correction Unit I guess, and that's where Mr. Allen was housed. He had been transferred from the jail to Westville as a safekeeper because he was considered, it was felt that he was in danger in the county jail, and so he was transferred to us in the...
Okay, so you didn't have an office in the WCU?
No.
But you had one on the property?
Right.
Where you could go?
Right.
And enter your medical
notes,
findings and documents into the secure system, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And were you actually an employee of Indiana Department of Corrections or from another?
No.
Company?
No, I was never an employee of the Department of Corrections. I was working for Centurion, which is a company that provides medical services in the prison.
Were all of your patients at WCU during this time or were?
No. I had.
They had other facilities?
No. I had patients who were on the compound in general population, but there were a few people who were housed in WCU, so I'd go over there and see them and then I'd go back to my office, which is in the medical building, and then I'd sit down there and write my notes.
Okay. So when you would meet with Mr. Allen for a medical visit, would you then go to your other office to make records about your visit with him?
Yeah. Sometimes I had to see several people, so I'd go and see everyone, and then I'd go back there and I'd write my notes.
Okay. And so did you have written documents that you had prepared that you then entered into the system?
Not always. I'd just jot down some notes on a piece of paper and then I'd go down and write everything on the computer.
Okay. And are those records kept in a secure system?
The whole computer system is supposed to be secure.
And so would you have a login in order to create that record?
Yes.
And could anyone else go in and make a record and put your name to it?
No.
Okay. And I'll ask you another question, so we don't have to do this twice. And so were you a physician that would be prescribing medication to Mr. Allen?
Yes. The psychiatrist is the one who prescribes the psychotropic medications.
And were you also aware of medication that he came to WCU prescribed previously that he was going to be continuing to take while he was there?
Yes. When he came from the reception center, he came in on Prozac, an antidepressant, because he had a history of depression and anxiety, and so I examined him, I met with him, interviewed him for the first time, as I said, in early November, and then I continued him the same medication. He was stable on that, so there was no need to make any changes.
Okay. And so any changes that you made to mental health-related medication, would that be kept in a particular record for when it was administered or given to Mr. Allen?
There are my notes, and then, as part of the notes, there's a form for writing orders, doctor's orders, and then, the nurses keep a track of whether he's taking medication or not, so we call that MAR, which stands for Medication Administration Record. So those MARs are written by the nurses, they sign off when he takes his medication, and if he doesn't take, and they sign off for that date by putting their initials. And then, if he doesn't take his medication, they'll sign their initials and they'll circle it to indicate that he refused his medication.
And so is that a record that you would use and rely upon in order to monitor whether Mr. Allen was taking his medication or not taking medication?
Yes, that is one way in which I could do that, but what would happen is nurses usually inform us he refused his medication before we can even look at that.
Okay, but it is a record that's created?
Yeah, it is a record, it's there, it's available, and anyone can look at it, it's anyone in medical. Not security staff, but medical has access to that.
Okay. And so a a medication administration record, is that something that's regularly kept in your business?
Yeah. It's there on, yeah.
May I approach the witness, Judge?
You may.
Dr. Martin, I'd like to show you first what I've marked as State's Exhibit 319. It has multiple pages. If you'd flip through that and tell me whether you recognize that. Do you recognize those documents?
Yes.
And what are they?
These are notes that I wrote on the patient. There's also a consent form that he signed for Prozac. There is a...
Do they accurately reflect the records that were associated with your treatment of him while he was at WCU?
Yes, it does, they do.
Thank you. I'm going to show you what's marked as State's Exhibit 320, also multiple documents.
Yeah.
Take a look at that. Let me know if you recognize that. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do. These are the MAR, the Medication Administration Records.
Okay. And so would these records be the records you referred to that you would rely on with regard to the administration of medication?
Compliance, yeah.
And so they would also reflect with regard to mental health medications that you ordered?
Right. All the medications, whether prescribed by medical or prescribed by me, they're there.
Okay. Judge, the state would move to admit Exhibits 319 and 320 and request that the doctor be able to refer to these for his testimony. State's Exhibit 319 and 320 offered.
May I ask a preliminary question on 320?
Yes.
Dr. Martin, I'm looking at 320, which is the prescription medication regimen records. There are a lot of different initials on here from what appear to be different people. Do you acknowledge that?
Yes. So.
Or rather, do you acknowledge that there are?
Yeah.
Many other initials on here from various other people throughout this whole period of time with reference to these documents, yes or no?
Yes.
And these people are not you, right?
No, these are nurses.
Okay. Other medical staff?
Yeah. These are nurses, different shifts, different days.
Judge, I object. I don't have any problem with 319, but 320, based on it's just loaded with hearsay. There's no foundation. It's...
Judge, the doctor will be asked to reference this with regard to when he ordered particular medications and also documents with regards to refusal of medications that we believe is relevant to his testimony and...
All right. I'll show that 319 is admitted without objection, and I'll show that 320 is admitted over objection.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
May the witness refer to these for his testimony, Judge?
Yes.
I'm going to start with this one, so.
Thank you.
I won't give you too many too.
Yeah.
Hold on to. Now, you made reference to knowing that Mr. Allen entered the WCU as a safekeeper, is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
And there's also a reference to someone being in solitary confinement. Are you familiar with that reference?
Yes, I am.
And are you familiar, based on your experience with your work in the prison systems, with the difference between a safekeeper and someone who's in solitary?
Yes. My understanding is that a person sometimes is transferred to prison.
And with re.
And so they are they're known as safekeepers.
And do you have experience other than Mr. Allen in treating a safekeeper in a prison setting like WCU?
I have treated safekeepers who were in general population, not in, but Mr. Allen was in what could be referred to as solitary confinement, but can also be referred to as a one-man cell. The reason why, I just want to explain why I talk about one-man cell, rather than solitary confinement is because, though it is the same room, the person who is put in solitary confinement, it has a punitive connotation, that the person has done something wrong in prison, he has broken some rule or regulation, and he's being punished by isolating him from other people for a certain period of time. Depending on the charges, whatever rule he broke, so he gets time there and so he's locked in. Whereas Mr. Allen had not done anything wrong in the prison system, you know. He had not broken any rule or regulation, and yet, he was being treated as though he had done something wrong in the prison. At least that was, that's how he might have felt, And in a way, that was not right, but at the same time, we are to look at the other responsibility that the prison system had to keep him safe, to keep him alive. And so even though there's a risk of serious harm to his mental health by putting him in solitary confinement, the mission or the need to keep him alive and safe was the overriding decision. I think that was the overriding thought in the mind of the warden when he chose.
Well, and you don't know who chose for him to be housed there, correct?
I have no idea. I'm just assuming that.
Okay, so were there things that do you have a familiarity with someone being in solitary confinement from your work?
Yes. Almost all the prisons that I've worked in have been major, high-security prisons that we've had a lot of people in solitary confinement and, as a matter of fact, for a whole year, I was in charge of a program supervising 5 prisons, including one for women, where we had all the people who are in solitary confinement across the state of Florida all brought to these 5 prisons.
Okay.
They were all solitary confinement cases.
Okay. So by comparison, were you familiar with things that Mr. Allen had available to him in order to differentiate safekeeping from solitary confinement in order to provide contact with others?
Well, we did have a lot of meetings with the warden, the head service administrator, the psychologist for the Department of Corrections, the lawyer for the Department of Corrections, and of course the warden and the assistant warden to see what we could do to make life a little bit more comfortable for him while he was in prison, like giving him access to a tablet, to a TV, recreation, phone calls, as much as could be done, in that secure facility.
So were you aware that he had a suicide companion at his door?
Yeah. There were times when he had expressed suicidal thinking, what we call suicidal ideations, and there were times when he actually.
Okay.
We did what we could to see that he was safe.
Okay. And you were aware whether he was being taken out of his cell for certain things, so he had an opportunity to leave that space, like seeing Dr. Walla?
Yes, like, for example, if he had to be seen by medical, if he had to be seen by Dr. Walla, the psychologist, if he had to be seen by me, sometimes I'd see him outside his cell, but sometimes I would see him inside his cell, because it was not safe, for a good reason, he couldn't be taken out. And every time yes, and when he went out for recreation, when he went out to make phone calls to his wife and family.
Judge, may I interject and ask a foundational question?
Sure.
Dr. Martin, you're talking about all these things Rick Allen did. You only met with him 18 times in 13 months, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I didn't.
That's what you told me a month ago, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So you weren't there when he was doing all these things, were you?
No, but I know that these things were done, because we were discussing these things.
Did you ever watch any of the
I didn't.
video?
I did not.
Or further review any of the video of him in his cell in that prison?
No.
Did you ever review any of the camcorder video when he was being moved around to various places?
No, but I saw the camera.
Judge, I object
I saw
to this line of questioning.
I saw him being recorded.
Judge, I object.
I saw the officer with the camcorder.
Judge, would you, please, instruct the witness?
Sir, stop. What is your objection?
My objection is he has no foundation to testify where Mr. Allen went, because he didn't even see him.
Judge, I think the witness was about to say he's seen.
Overruled.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk about your initial assessment of Mr. Allen, please.
Okay. Can I refer to my notes?
What was his mental health condition in?
Can I refer to my notes?
Yes.
Okay. So I would usually go to Westville on Tuesdays. Before I went to Westville, I would be given a list of patients that I was going to see.
I'm going to object to non-responsive to the question.
Sustained.
Thank you.
Dr. Martin, I need you to specifically answer the question about your initial assessment of Mr. Allen.
Okay.
In November of 22.
Okay. So.
How is he doing from A?
Okay.
Mental health perspective?
Initial evaluations, the first time I saw him face to face was on the 8th of November.
Okay.
He had recently come from the reception center and I had a day, or the Sunday earlier, I had reviewed what had been written in the reception center on him, so when I saw him, I asked him a few more questions to add to that database and do a mental status exam and, at that point in time when I saw him, he was stable. There was no problems that I could see. He has a history of depression, but he did not seem to be depressed. He had a history of anxiety, but he did not seem to show any signs or symptoms of anxiety, so I continued him on his medication. So that was the first time I saw him. The next time I saw him was 3 weeks later, on the 29th of November. Again, everything seemed to be fine. He didn't seem to have any problems. The next time I saw him was in January, on the I think 29th. No.
You can take the time to look.
The 24th of January. And at that time when I saw him, I said I need him to sign consent for medication, because usually we try to get consent signed once a year and I wanted to make sure that he had signed it. And if I may be allowed to digress a little bit, informed consent is something that's really important for us. Now, normally when a patient goes to see a doctor and he's got some infection, the doctor might write a prescription for an antibiotic that the patient goes and fills it up and that's okay. But for mental health patients, any time a psychiatrist is writing prescription, he first gets an informed consent form signed by that patient, because
So that is different in psychiatry versus
general medicine.
general medicine? Thank you.
Now, medicine, in general medicine too, people do sign informed consent forms.
Judge, I'm going to object at this point. It's non-responsive.
Sustained.
So, Dr. Martin, we have to move on
Okay.
from that subject, but he did sign a consent for Prozac, is that correct?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
That was on the 24th.
Up to this point.
The 24th of January.
Okay. Up to this point, he was continued on.
Everything was fine, everything.
Medication previously ordered.
Yes, yes.
Correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And so after you saw him in January, on the 24th, what would have been the normal time frame between then and your next visit with Mr. Allen?
Since he was doing well, according to our protocol, I was allowed to see him once every 6 months, or even once every 3 months, but we extended it to once every 6 months. So I was supposed to see him sometime in April to the latter, January 24th, so maybe April 24th was when I was likely.
Okay. So when you saw him in January, was he still doing okay?
Yes, he was doing fine.
Okay. And so then did you see him in April?
Yes, I did.
Was it at a regularly scheduled time or different?
No, it was not. I got a phone call from the health service administrator, Ms. Bridegroom.
And without telling us what she said, did her call to you prompt you to go see Mr. Allen unexpectedly?
Yes. It was not planned.
Okay. And as we talk about this, I want you to provide information to us just based on your own observations and not necessarily information from others unless you're prompted to, okay?
Okay.
All right. So when you see Mr. Allen on April 13th, you said, correct?
Yes.
Was he still at WCU?
Yes, he was.
And what did you observe about Mr. Allen during your visit?
So I'm gonna read from my notes. So when I went to Westville that day, I was met by the warden and other people, and I was able to look into the cell in which patient Allen was housed. He was lying naked on a mattress. He was.
Judge, I'm going to the form of testimony.
That was not to refresh.
Improper refreshing.
Judge, it was not intended to refresh his recollection. It was in order to assist him in his testimony so he can be accurate about what he documented regarding his visits with Mr. Allen. Because there's 18 records here, and he can't be expected to memorize that.
Well, but he shouldn't be reading from the records.
Okay.
Okay.
Would you please
Okay.
read your notes from that date and then?
I'll summarize it, So he was lying on so he was naked. He had feces smeared on him. There was some brownish fluid from his mouth and I was told that he had been eating feces.
But you did not see that?
No, I did not see that, that's what I was told, but what I saw was that he was naked and I saw the brown fluid coming out his mouth and he had feces on himself. Then I said I need to talk to him, so what they did was the officers practically carried him to a shower stall and they hosed him down so that he could be cleaned up. Then they gave him a new suicide gown and then they brought him into the nurse office, which is very close there. It was a large room which is mostly used as a storage room, but the nurse, her table was right.
So let me ask you this. Based on your observations of Mr. Allen on that day, did you draw a conclusion about his mental health?
Yes.
That was different than how he appeared in January?
Yeah. This was.
And what was your conclusion?
The presentation was different. My conclusion at that point was that he was psychotic.
Okay.
Okay.
And so based on your conclusion, how did that impact your treatment of Mr. Allen from a medical standpoint?
Okay. So now, in order to treat the psychosis, I had to give him an antipsychotic, but in the process of interviewing him, I saw that, I was looking for two things. Like I said before, we get informed consent forms signed by the patient. So in this case, in order to do that, I was looking for two things, insight and judgment. Now, when I talk about insight, what I mean is does the person have a fair understanding of the reality of the situation? And when I say judgment, can he make the right decision, which is in his best interest, best medical interest? And in both cases, on the both issues, I found that his insight was deficient and his judgment was
Okay.
So I felt that he could not give consent and I said, you need to, we have.
And what medication is it that you thought was appropriate at this point for Mr. Allen?
So the medication that I chose that I wanted to give him was Haldol, which is an antipsychotic, and it has an advantage, the injection. Haldol comes in 3 forms, it comes in an oral, as a tablet or a capsule which you can take by mouth, it comes as a short-acting injection, which has a very short half-life, and then it also comes as a Haldol decanoate, which is a long-acting preparation which stays in the system for up to a month, so we give those shots once a month, So that's how we use Haldol.
Okay. So since Mr. Allen was not coincided able to consent to Haldol, what steps did you take in order to get him the medication you felt he needed?
Okay. So what I did after that, after seeing him on the 13th of April, when I felt that he was not competent to give informed consent, I called up Dr. William Mays, who's the regional psychiatrist for Centurion for this region for the state of Indiana, and I explained to him my findings and I said, we need to have an emergency meeting to see that we can give him involuntary medication. So we had an emergency meeting the very next day in that meeting, I explained to the committee, which is a panel of 2 psychiatrists, including Dr. Mays and Dr. Stephen Bonner, and Dr. Walla, the psychologist who was at Westville. So these 3 agreed that he was psychotic and that because of his presentation, they said he could be given involuntary medication, and so that's how I started him on medication.
Is there a particular form in the medical records that would reference this?
Yes. There is a report dated April 14, 23, that's the day after I saw him in that psychotic state.
Okay.
So there's a report there where we have it's like the minutes for that meeting involving me explaining my findings, giving the diagnosis and the recommendation for the medication, because it's a long-acting medication, what might happen if he were not put on the medication, what other forms of treatment we were going to provide, like therapy and monitoring by medical and by nurses, etc., etc.
And so what is the name of that form?
Well, it's called.
Within the record?
Sorry to interrupt you. It's called the Report of Treatment Review Committee. It's dated April 14, 23.
Okay. And so does the first page contain recommendations or information you would have provided to the committee?
Yes.
And then on page 2, does that include information about criteria that were met in order for Mr. Allen to receive the medication?
Yes. At the top of that left form, there's a little box checked off. It says, Treatment Review Committee concurs with involuntary administration of psychotropic medication. Below that, there is a little panel which says, Basis for Decision, and there the criteria are documented for the reasons why he was put on the medication.
Okay. And so who would make the decision about what criteria was met in order for Mr. Allen to receive the Haldol? Was it a group decision?
Yes. That's that panel, the 3 on that panel. So they are independent of me, because I'm the treating physician and I'm presenting the case and they're the ones who review the case and they can ask questions, etc. But once everything's clarified, then they said, I agree. I agree. I agree. And then.
Okay. So then, could you briefly describe the medication regimen that you ordered for Mr. Allen with regard to the Haldol?
Okay. So now, I'll decrib and I'll also give you reasons why I did that. Whenever in his chart, it said.
Objection, non-responsive.
It said no.
Sustained. Sir, stop.
Hold on 1 second.
Sustained.
Please describe for us the Haldol medication that you prescribed for him with specificity.
Okay. So I wanted to make sure that he's not going to have any allergies or reactions to the medication.
Okay.
Okay? Now, just because it says that he's not allergic doesn't mean that he's not
Objection. Non-responsive.
allergic to Haldol.
Sustained.
So I.
So, Mr.
Decided to give him a short-acting
Dr. Martin.
dose of Haldol.
Dr. Martin, I have to direct your responses with questions, and you need to answer just the question that I ask, okay?
Okay, I'll try.
So you were explaining that you gave him short-acting Haldol. How many doses and with what frequency did he get short-acting Haldol?
Okay. So Haldol lactate is the short-acting
Okay.
injectable form. I gave him 5 milligrams of Haldol
Okay.
by intramuscular once a day. The max dose is 100 milligrams. So he was getting a loose dose, 5 milligrams.
And how often?
So he got that on the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th.
And did he have any reaction?
So he didn't have any side effects, no reaction, so I said, okay, so now I can go ahead and give him the long-acting preparation. Because once it's in him, and he has a reaction, then I can, it's a problem. So this way, now I know that he's not having a reaction, he's not having side effects.
And that is the long-acting?
That's the long-acting.
Okay.
The max dose of Haldol decanoate is 450.
So was his dose.
So the dose he was getting relatively was small, but if you consider that medication is for 30 days and he's getting 50 milligrams, he's actually getting the equivalent of little less than 2 milligrams a day.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
So this is less than what he was getting when I was trying out for side effects.
And so at this point, then, do you need to monitor him to determine whether the medication is addressing the diagnosis of psychosis?
Right.
And so how frequently did you then see him after the long-acting Haldol?
Okay. So I saw him on the 18th, which was a Tuesday. So the next time I saw him was on the 25th.
And on the 18th was the administration, the first administration.
Yes, that's the day when he got the first dose.
Okay.
Okay?
On that particular day, did he still present as psychotic?
Yes.
Okay. And you said the next time you saw him was April 25th, 2023. On that particular day, did he still present as psychotic?
Yes, however, there was some improvement.
And what would you have observed that would indicate improvement?
Okay. So earlier, on the 13th of April, he was at the height of his psychotic experience or the presentation.
Is that based on your observations of him?
Yeah, and it's documented in my notes.
Okay.
13th of April, okay? So after that, he showed slight improvement when he got the short-acting medication when I saw him on the 18th, but I went ahead and started him on the long-acting medication on the 18th, and on the 25th, there was improvement.
Could you look at your notes for April 25th, 2023, and tell us in what aspects he was showing improvement?
Okay. So one of the things was that when I saw him on the 25th, there was no evidence of him smearing himself with feces or eating feces. He recognized me. He was not talking much, so I would walk away and then he'd say, "Doctor," and I'd go back and I'd try to talk to him at his cell door. He did that 3 times, he called out to me, "Doctor," 3 times, but he did not know the date on that occasion, though he knew that he was now in prison, so this is one of the things I was looking for, is he oriented to person, place, time, and...
So in what aspects was he oriented?
He was oriented at least to person and to situation, he knew he was in prison. And then he started asking for a dry blanket. He is not very communicative, as I said, but he was asking for his wife, he was asking for the warden, he was chanting, Delphi. He was asking for chocolates, Taco Bell.
Well, I'm asking you.
And so he was showing some improvement in his speech, okay? And as far as coherence is concerned.
Okay.
Looseness of associations, flight of ideas, tangentiality that he had displayed earlier on the 13th, when he was at the height of his psychosis. So there was, and at that time, he was also having hallucinations, because when I saw him, he was talking to and that means he was responding to some voices that he was hearing in his head, but this time I did not see that.
Okay.
Okay. He was so he was oriented to person, place, and situation. His memory did not seem to be affected. He was eating his meals. He seemed to be getting enough sleep. He was interested in his personal hygiene when asking for a shower and a haircut, but at the same time though, he was wetting his suicide blanket. He was not smearing himself with feces or eating it, as he had been doing the previous week.
So there was
So,
improvement?
there was some sadness, but that was situational.
Okay.
But otherwise, there was a good amount of improvement in his presentation.
And then you saw him next on what date?
The next time I saw him was on the 2nd of May.
And that's in 2023?
2023, yes.
And if you would review your notes so we can discuss that particular visit.
So,
And I want you to review it, and then we'll talk about it.
yes. So this.
On this date, what did you observe about Mr. Allen?
So on this date, what I observed was that he was lying on his mattress. When I called him, he came, covered himself with a suicide blanket, because he had the suicide gown on, and he also had a suicide blanket, and he covered himself with that too. But he was coherent. There was no looseness of associations or flight of ideas. He denied auditory or visual hallucinations. There was no evidence that I could see of psychosis.
Okay. And then, when did you see him after May 2nd?
I beg your pardon.
What was the next
May 2nd.
visit?
Yeah, May 2nd.
After May 2nd, I'm sorry.
Okay. So the next time I saw him was on May 8th, which is about a week later.
And what did you observe about Mr. Allen on that particular date?
So here again, he was wearing the suicide gown, he was coherent, spoke without any looseness of associations or flight of ideas. He denied auditory or visual hallucinations. He was oriented to person, place, situation. He was a little sad. And the review of the logs showed that he was getting a reasonable amount of sleep and he was eating his meals, though not all of them. And he had been going to meet with Dr. Walla for therapy sessions. He was not consistent in taking oral medication, because I had added a little bit of Haldol because I wanted to get him stabilized quickly I didn't know how long I was going to continue the oral medication, but I put him on a little bit, and I knew that he was not likely to take it, regularly, so I gave him a slightly higher dose than I would normally have done, but still, the doses was really very low, and he would take the medication, refuse it sometimes, and that's all recorded. There in the Mars. And then I put down in my notes he was much improved.
Judge, same objection as before.
And does not appear to be psychotic.
Sir.
The same objection as earlier, he's
Yeah. Hold on.
reading from his notes.
Please don't read from your notes.
So on that time, on that day, again when I saw him, he did not show any.
Okay. And so the next visit then, Dr. Martin?
Okay. The next visit is a week later. So now on this.
Dr. Martin, go ahead and read.
This time too, summary is, again, he was not psychotic.
Objection, non-responsive.
Overruled.
Dr. Martin, will you read that note to yourself?
Okay.
And then I'll take it.
All right.
So we don't have objections.
Fine, fine, fine. Okay.
Okay.
So.
Hang on. Okay. What did you observe about Mr. Allen on that date?
Okay. So on that day, too, there was no evidence of psychosis.
Okay. And then?
There is.
That was the 18th of May, do you agree?
No, 25th.
23rd.
25th.
Did I say 25th?
25th of April, we're still in April.
Okay.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
It appears that the next record in your medical records is May 30th of 2023. Do you have any reason to doubt that?
Yes. No.
Okay. Take a look at that note, and then give it back to me.
I'm sorry, what day are we on? Excuse me.
30th of May.
May 13th. Thank you.
3-0.
Thank you.
Okay.
So.
On May 30th, what do you observe about Mr. Allen?
So again on that date, I did not find any evidence of psychosis. He was eating his meals, he was oriented to person, place, time, situation. The speech was coherent. There was no auditory or visual hallucinations. He was going for therapy sessions, in fact, he was about to meet with Dr. Walla just a few minutes after I saw him. I think he may have spoken to his wife on the phone or, I don't remember, but everything was fine. I mean, there was no evidence of psychosis.
Okay. Now, the next record here is June 20th of 2023. Will you review that one? Okay. How is Mr. Allen's mental health progressing on June 20th of?
Okay. So on June 20th, 24, sick, there was no evidence of psychosis.
Okay.
So he had not been psychotic for 7 weeks starting from May 20th, and so that day, I decided I'm gonna stop the medication.
Was his
Now, he had received a shot 2 or 3 days before, but I wrote the order for him not to get any more injections.
And so was the injection you described as being a very low dose. Were the subsequent injections also very low doses?
The same dose, 15 milligrams IM every 4 weeks.
Okay. And on this particular day, was he able to communicate with you coherently and have flight of ideas?
Yes. So there was no evidence of psychosis, his speech was coherent. There was no tangentiality, there was no flight of ideas, there was no evidence of any hallucinations or delusions. There was nothing that told me to hint that he was still psychotic. He'd been free of psychosis for 7 weeks. And I said, now it's time to stop the medication. So on the 20th of June, I stopped his medication.
And was that something you would have communicated to him?
I'm not sure what I mean, if I did not document it.
Okay. Was there anything else of note that you documented on that day with regard to your conversation with Mr. Allen?
That day, he said something to me. He had said these things to other people, but it was the first time he said it to me, and that day I had decided to.
And so you documented that?
Yeah, and I documented that.
Okay. Now, after June 20th of 2023, you continued seeing Mr. Allen on a regular basis, is that correct?
Yeah, I continued seeing him, to continue him on the Prozac, but I had stopped the antipsychotic on the 20th because, like I said, from the 2nd of May, he had not been psychotic.
And what is the purpose of Haldol?
Haldol is an antipsychotic. It's for treatment.
Well, for laypeople, can you explain for us?
Yes. Okay. So I hope you can give me a few minutes.
Well, I'm not sure we have a few minutes. Can we have?
Okay.
The abbreviated
Okay.
version of
I'll give you the abbreviated.
the purpose of Haldol?
I'll give you the abbreviated version. Okay, the abbreviated version is this. When people have psychosis, some of the manifestations are the person might hear voices. Okay, so we also describe the word psychosis by saying
Judge, I'm gonna object as non-responsive.
poor contact with reality.
Sustained.
Can you just focus on the effects of Haldol that would be helpful in addressing Mr. Allen's symptoms?
Yes. So, like I said, psychosis is poor contact with reality, and the purpose of the antipsychotic is to get this person back again so that he has contact with reality, okay? In other words, he's not hearing voices, he's not seeing things, he's not delusional, his speech is coherent, his behavior is appropriate, and those are the symptoms that he had been exhibiting, and now I put him on the medication, and he was no longer exhibiting those symptoms.
Okay. Now, we had other testimony that said that psychosis could come from a variety of factors. One might be abuse of illicit drugs. Was that present in Mr. Allen?
No, I don't think that was, because he was in a secure facility, he was in a single cell, and anything that he received through the meal slot was being monitored. There was an officer sitting outside there watching what's going on.
Okay. And so there was also testimony by another witness that a problem with current medication could cause psychosis. Was that a factor for Mr. Allen?
No. The medication that he was on was an antidepressant.
Judge, I'm gonna object at this point.
The
Judge.
That assumes facts not in evidence. That wasn't the
Judge, sorry, go ahead.
statement. The question is based on a statement that if somebody else said that a medical problem could cause psychosis, and I think the discussion that related to was delirium.
Sustained.
Dr. Martin, would the medication of Prozac have played any role in Mr. Allen having psychosis?
No.
Would him refusing Prozac at any point have any role in his psychosis?
No.
And the Prozac as it appears in the medication administration record, does it have another name that it appears as in the record?
Yeah. So Prozac is the brand name. Fluoxetine is the generic name.
Okay.
So. Sometimes Thiners ES will write fluoxetine in the medical, because the medication that they're getting from the pharmacy, the outside pharmacy that's supplying us, it's coming as fluoxetine, the generic form, because that's cheaper than the brand name.
Understood. Judge, I'll pass the witness.
Would counsel approach?
Sidebar conference conducted.
I told you, this witness, I told you.
Do you know how long Cross is gonna take, considering he wants to just go on and on? Is this a good time for us to break for lunch?
Probably. I don't wanna. I think the jury's kind of ready to move on. I mean, I'm trying to get the hell out of here.
No, we discussed this witness would be
Yeah, this would be.
somewhat rough.
Challenging.
Yeah.
You should have been at the depot.
Oh, no. Well, that's why I just wanted to assume we should break.
I think this is a good spot.
Okay. That's fine.
Sorry, I did my best.
Sidebar conference concluded.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Razi. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go ahead and take our lunch break, it's almost 12:30. While you're outside the courtroom, please keep your minds open. Please don't form any opinions or conclusions about anything. You may discuss the evidence that you've heard so far, but please, only do that if you are all together in the room at the same time, and please, don't deliberate. Gentlemen.
All rise.
Jury out at 12:25 p.m.
All right. Let's resume at 1:15. Jody, you can go off the record.
Off record at 12:26 p.m. On record at 1:15 p.m.
All right, we are back on the record. Mr. Razi, are you ready with your cross?
I am. Thank you.
Ms. Diener, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Gentlemen.
All rise.
Jury in at 1:18 p.m.
Thank you. You may be seated.
All right. Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're ready to continue. Mr. Razi.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, Dr. Martin.
Good afternoon.
Dr. Martin, you have no traditional bachelor's degree from an American university.
No.
And you obtained your medical degree in Mumbai, isn't that right?
No. In Bengaluru.
In Bangalore?
Bengaluru.
And you had many different jobs. You did have many different jobs in Florida during the first 10, 20, 30 years of your career, right?
Yes, sir.
You have to speak up a little bit.
Yes, that's right.
Even if I'm standing right here.
That's right, yes.
And those jobs involved you working for different counties, right? Like Broward County, Palm Beach County.
Baker, yes, sir.
And involved you working in different facilities in those counties, right?
That's right.
You were terminated from a job in Florida, were you not?
Yeah.
And you were involved in some lawsuits surrounded around individuals who were solitarily confined when you were in Florida?
No.
You were testifying about that earlier when Ms. Diener was asking you, were you not? Yes or no?
Could you repeat the question?
The Osterbach case.
Yes.
Does that?
Yeah, okay.
A case that involved inmates in solitary confinement?
Right.
Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Judge, may we have a sidebar?
Sure.
Sidebar conference conducted.
Judge, this would not be the proper impeachment. That situation is separate from this case. Dr. Martin was not sued in that case. An employee of the DOC was inaudible, address issues, honestly, kind of like EPAs. But as an employee or contract employee for the Florida Department of Corrections, it is not all a policy determined by Dr. Martin, so I don't know how it's an impeachable subject matter because it appears to be in the form of the question.
The state brought up the issue of solitary confinement during his direct exam.
And he testified.
And it's directly related to the fact that he is familiar with the industry as it relates to solitary confinement and the circumstances, even the legal side of it.
And what does this lawsuit have to do with anything?
Well, I'm not asking him about the details. I'm just.
He testified that.
So he's familiar with that. He has knowledge of the case.
Well, he testified to that.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I'm asking. I'll move on.
Okay.
Sidebar conference concluded.
Move on, Mr. Razi.
Thank you. I took your deposition back in early October of this year. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, yes.
And at that time, you acknowledged to me that it was very challenging to treat someone in solitary confinement, right?
The patients, yes.
And in 2022, when you were asked to go down to Westville, you were working at the state prison in Michigan City. Is that right?
Correct, yes.
And you were asked to go to Westville because there was a significant backlog in cases at Westville?
That's right.
You told me somewhere between 200 and maybe 250 inmates that had.
Backlog.
That were part of that backlog, right? Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Do you agree that the definition of serious mental illness involves someone with a major psychiatric disorder, which would include schizophrenia, major depression, bipolar disorder, all those types of things?
Correct.
Judge, may I ask a preliminary question?
Correct.
You may.
Dr. Martin, with regard to the DOC definition of serious mental illness in 2022 and 2023, are you familiar with the definition?
Yes,
The DOC definition?
Not specifically, but in general, I agree that major diagnoses like schizo.
Dr. Martin, I don't want you to answer the question.
No, okay.
Do you know the DOC definition for serious mental illness effective in 2022 and 2023 as we sit here today?
No.
I would object to the question.
He's already admitted that's part of his definition. I think it's a weight issue.
Overruled.
Did you tell me that the DOC's definition of serious mental illness was someone with a psychiatric disorder, which would include schizophrenia, major depression, bipolar disorder, all those kinds of things?
That's right.
Do you agree that solitary confinement of a human can be the cause for the onset of a mental illness?
It can cause that, yes.
Do you agree that solitary confinement of a human being can exacerbate an existing mental illness?
I agree.
Do you agree that at times during Mr. Allen's stay at Westville, that he was in a state of psychosis?
Yes, I agree.
Do you agree that a human being in Mr. Allen's condition at Westville could move in and out of states of psychosis over time?
It's possible.
You said that you had personal contact with Mr. Allen at Westville. Is that true?
That's true.
And would you acknowledge that you told me that contact occurred on 18 different occasions?
Yes.
Roughly, right?
Yeah, roughly.
Between November of 2022 and DEC.
November of 23.
November of 2023?
Correct.
And the longest of those meetings was a half an hour, which was your.
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
And there were 2 officers present with you during that meeting?
Yes.
And there were other meetings with Mr. Allen that occurred at his door, at his cell door?
Cell door, yes.
So you're talking to him through the glass or through the crack?
Right.
In the wall?
Yes, yeah.
And those meetings, naturally, would be much quicker than a half an hour, because
True.
you're not going to stand there and talk through the door?
True.
And I went through and counted. I kind of was just roughly counting between. Well, let me back up. Is it accurate to say that between January 24th, 2023 and April 13th, 2023, that you had no contact with Mr. Allen?
That is true.
And in fact, to the extent that he was suffering from any type of mental illnesses or mental health crises, Dr. Walla's notes would be a terse source of information in that regard?
For that period, yes.
And you've acknowledged before that she's just in a better position to.
Depending.
Okay,
It depends.
I'm asking you if over the course of his stay at Westville, would you agree that she was in a better position to assess his mental health than any other doctors at that facility?
Judge, I'd object. Asked and answered. He ALR said, was she in a better position to observe and assess?
He said it depends.
Sustained.
I'll move on. Did you? Do you agree that when you did see him at the door cell, that it was typically just for a few minutes, because that was enough contact for you?
That's right, yes.
Did you ever watch any in-cell videos of Mr. Allen?
No.
Did you ever watch any camcorder videos of Mr. Allen?
No.
Did you describe Mr. Allen on April 13th, 2023, as very psychotic at that time?
Yes, I did.
The same thing on May 13th, 2023?
Objection, Judge.
Did you?
May 13th? Does he have a record from May 13th?
Are you asking me?
No, I'm asking Mr. Razi if there's one in the documents that Dr. Martin had an opportunity to review.
I'm asking him a question. I'm not sure what the objection is.
That there's no record, that was the objection.
I don't think I saw him that day.
So sustained if there's no record.
Did you tell me that on April 13th that you got a call and you were notified that he was
April.
being psychotic?
Yes, April 13th, yes.
Okay, I apologize. You said you administered D-Haldol in 3 different forms, is that right?
No. Yes.
You said there were 3 different kinds.
There are 3 different kinds and he was given 3 different.
And?
All 3 different types.
4 of those, the lactate short-term administrations occurred in April, right?
April 14th, 15, 16, 17.
5 of them.
No 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th.
Okay,
4 days.
and then you gave him a 30-day shot on or about April 18th.
18th.
And then another one on or about May 18th.
Yeah, okay.
And then another one on or about June 15th.
16th, I think.
And you only administer antipsychotics to somebody who is psychotic, right?
Yes. Let me take that back.
There's no question. Do you agree that Mr. Allen suffered from major depressive disorder?
Yes, he did.
And do you agree, or is it accurate, that there are circumstances that people like Mr. Allen deal with in prison that can exacerbate those symptoms?
Yes, I agree.
And one of those would be circumstances being, I should say one of those would be being separated from outside family members.
I agree.
And one of those would be someone believing that they're being unfairly incarcerated or held.
I agree.
And one of those might be treatment from other inmates.
The way the others were dealing with him, yes, yeah.
Mr. Allen complained of those things from time to time.
Yes, yeah.
There was some references in your notes that you questioned Mr. Allen's behaviors and the timing of his meeting with his lawyers. Do you recognize that general comment?
Could you repeat the question?
Objection, Judge. It's outside direct.
Sustained.
Did you report in any of your records that you were concerned about Mr. Allen having a meeting with his lawyers?
Yes, I did.
And you don't have any idea what his lawyers talked to him about during that meeting, do you?
No, no, no.
So anything that you would, any opinion you would generate in that regard would be pure speculation?
Pure speculation, I agree.
You did report that he was engaging in paranoia because he thought that his lawyers were cops at one point, yes or no?
That is what he reported to Dr. Walla, which she told me about, that he thought that one of his lawyers was a good cop and the other one is a bad cop, so he was paranoid about them because he didn't feel that they were, working in his best interest.
Judge, I would object at this point that the response calls for hearsay.
Sustained.
Rick Allen's weight loss was significant to you?
Yes.
50 pounds over the time that he was there?
Yeah, 45.
And you said that's not normal, is it?
That is not normal.
People tend to actually gain weight in those circumstances?
Usually.
You've never treated a pretrial detainee.
Objection to the form of the question, Judge. He's inserting his own opinion that he's never treated someone in a particular circumstance. I think that would have to come from the witness.
I'll rephrase.
Sustained.
Thank you. Have you ever treated a pre-trial detainee without a criminal history in a prison in your entire professional career?
In prison.
Yeah.
Or in jail.
In prison.
In prison, yes.
Okay. Do you recall me asking you questions of this nature back on October 4th?
Yes.
Give me 1 second. Would it help to review your transcript to refresh your recollection of that conversation?
I don't mind looking at it, but I can answer without looking at it, too.
Judge, may I approach?
Judge, I'm going to object to the question as not being relevant to Mr. Allen and his situation.
How's it relevant?
It's relevant because it has a tendency to prove that Mr. Allen's treatment was unlike any inmate that he has ever dealt with over the course of his 30 years.
That's not what he testified to. He said yes, he has treated pretrial detainees.
That's not. I was going to impeach him with his statement. That's not what he told me in October.
Oh, so this is for impeachment.
Impeachment purposes. Thank you. May I?
Okay.
Handing you a copy of your deposition from October 2nd, 2024.
Okay.
Will you take a look at that, Dr. Martin, specifically page 55, lines 17 through 23? Just read those. You don't have to comment. Just read them and let.
Yeah, I read them. I read the...
Two-part question. You've never treated a pre-detainee without a criminal history at Westville, have you? Up until Mr. Allen.
Judge, I'm going to object. The first question was in a prison setting, and now he's saying in WCU.
Sustained.
Okay, we'll do it backwards.
And, Judge, I'd like to renew my objection. I still would question the relevance of this line of questioning because Mr. Allen is in safekeeping pursuant to court order, and so none of these witnesses have any say about what his status is in that regard. And so their opinion as to whether it's fair or unfair is really irrelevant to this case.
Judge, I think the information that's been extracted from the witness's testimony is that solitary confinement is damaging to someone's brain, and Mr. Allen was in a situation that no other inmate at this facility has ever been in. I think.
Then, let's limit it to Mr. Allen, shall we? Sustained.
Okay.
Was Mr. Allen's situation unique to you in terms of his detention?
Relatively speaking, yes, it was unique compared to other inmates at Westville.
May I have that? Earlier, thank you for that. You testified that you were.
With regard to the inmates who were at Westville?
Yes.
Yes.
And so you were actually conducting business, if you will, from a computer at ISP, but dealing with inmates at Westville, correct?
Correct.
And part of that was you authorizing the administration of meds, despite the fact that you weren't on site with the patients at the time. Is that?
Objection, Judge. There's a lot of testimony in that question, and again, I would ask the testimony come from the witness. I understand it's cross, but it's excessive.
Sustained.
Were you administering meds from a desk at Michigan City to inmates at Westville?
Yes, on one occasion I think I did.
You mentioned earlier that Mr. Allen was identified as a safekeeper, right?
Yes.
And your job? You had a particular job because of that business designation, correct?
Yes.
Are you aware of any specific reason why he was identified as a safekeeper?
To the best of my knowledge, he was not.
Judge, may I ask a preliminary question?
Yes, you may.
Dr. Martin, are you involved in the classification of inmates and whether they're placed in safekeeping or not?
No, certainly not.
I would object to the question.
Judge, earlier he rendered an opinion in his testimony that he was under the assumption that Mr. Allen was a safety. There was a threat to safety, and so I'm just asking what his facts are to support that opinion.
That's not the question that you asked.
May I ask a different question?
Yes, but I would sustain.
What facts are you aware of that Mr. Allen was a threat to his own safety before he was taken to Westville?
I was not aware of him being a threat to himself.
What facts are you aware of that somebody else was a threat to Mr. Allen's safety before he was taken to Westville?
I was not aware of someone being a threat to him, but in general, somebody thought that he was potentially in danger.
Objection, Judge. Speculation.
Sustained.
I'll move on. When you met with Mr. Allen in November of 2022,
22.
he did not have lawyers, did he?
He
did not have lawyers assigned.
I don't know.
Did you ask?
No.
Your initial meeting with Richard Allen, is it true? No, strike that. Is it true in November of 2022, when you met with him, that you conducted an interview?
That's right.
It wasn't a formal psychiatric assessment, was it?
What date?
In November of 2022.
NOV, yes.
And so any background information that you would have gathered from him basically was during that particular session, right?
No.
Did you gather background information?
I got some background information before I met him.
Okay.
Through what was available in the chart.
Okay.
So it was in the electronic chart, so I had access to information based on his interactions with people at their Septio Center before he got transferred to Westville.
Okay. In your November 29th, 2022 medication and/or psychotherapy report, did you report that Mr. Allen had used alcohol socially?
Can I look at my chart?
Would it help refresh your memory?
Yes.
Let me just open it for you. Directing your attention to November 29th of 2022 report, specifically the second page, at the bottom, the fourth to the last line. Do you see that?
Yes, yes.
Is that what he reported to you?
Yes.
Thank you. Earlier, you testified that, and correct me if I'm wrong, that there was a difference between being solitarily confined, and being in a one-man cell, right?
Physically, it's the same thing.
Okay.
The point I was trying to make was that solitary confinement has a punitive connotation, even though you're using the same cell, and Mr. Allen had not done anything wrong while he was in prison.
Which would be even more confusing for somebody to be solitarily confined if they hadn't done something wrong, correct?
I agree. I agree.
Okay, all right. And you said earlier, strike that. You testified earlier that you were trying to do whatever you could to make him more comfortable. Is that what you said?
Yes, yes.
You acknowledge that the circumstances in which he was enduring would.
I would not use extremely.
Okay.
It was uncomfortable.
Okay.
And
so you were just trying to make him less uncomfortable?
We were trying to, the whole team, the whole prison system, starting from the warden, everyone who is involved with him, we were trying to make sure that he was more.
Warden Gallipo?
Warden Gallipo.
All right. He was making sure Rick Allen was comfortable?
Mr. Gallipo, Dr. Dwenger, Dr. Walla, the assistant warden, Elise Gallagher, I think the lawyer for the Department of Corrections, we were having frequent meetings to see how he could be made more comfortable in the situation, given the situation in which he was.
But these are your MTD team meetings?
Yes, yes, yeah.
But some of these psychiatrists, did you mention Mays earlier, I think? Is that one of them?
Dr. Mays was the regional psychiatrist at that time for the region.
Bonner or something I thought you said.
Dr. Stephen Bonner was one of the psychiatrists in another facility.
Were you ever present when Dr. Mays interacted with Rick Allen personally?
No.
Were you ever present when Dr. Bonner or Mr. Bonner interacted with Rick Allen personally?
No. Dr. Bonner.
Were they?
No, they did not, no.
Were those people even on site at Westville?
No, they were not on site.
Now, you testified earlier that, because Mr. Allen was a safekeeper, that your job was just to keep him alive, right? Well, is that what you said?
Not my job, it was the job of the institution of the Department of Corrections, that's why he had been entrusted to the care of the Department of Corrections.
That was the standard?
Because he was not, that was my understanding, that he was not safe in the county jail wherever he was, and so they had transferred him to the department, care of the custody, and custody of the Department of Corrections, and they designated him to be housed at Westville.
Keep him alive?
Yeah, I guess, yes.
Now earlier, you testified from your medication management notes on June 20th, 2023, that Mr. Allen was oriented to person, place, time, coherent, lucid, those kind of things?
Can I look at my notes?
You may, yeah?
Yeah, June 20th, yes.
June 20th.
Yes.
2023?
Yes.
That's what your testimony was, right?
Yes, he was or.
That's the day that you reported that he told you that he wanted to apologize to the families?
Yes.
Doctor, Earlier in this trial, there was admitted into evidence Exhibit DDD, a video from the Indiana Department of Corrections, Westville, on June 20th, 2023, at 10:52 a.m. I'd like to play that video for you, and then I have a few questions for you, okay?
June 20th. Okay.
June 20th, 2023, at 10:52. May I turn the TV screen, Your Honor, and publish it?
To the witness.
Yeah, so he can see the video.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Rossi,
Yes?
can I see the exhibit and verify that that is from that?
Yeah, sure. Here's the BBB, that's the master list it's the last page.
And which one are you going to?
June 20th, 2023.
Can we have just a moment, Judge?
Yeah.
Mr. Rossi, is this the court's copy?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
May I publish, Judge?
Yes, you may.
Specifically 12:30 to 2100 on the video.
Are we going to play the whole 20 minutes?
No, I just said 12:30 to 2100.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I thought you said 10:52.
well, that was the reference to the video on the master list, is that it started at 10:52 a.m. I'm going to play 12:30 to 21 to 12 minutes and 30 seconds.
Was that published to the jury?
To 21 minutes.
Had that been published to the jury?
Yeah, the whole thing was, we showed the whole thing.
Well, did you show the whole video on that one, or is that one you skipped through?
Mr. Rossi,
That was one that was skipped through, according to Jody's notes.
I'm sorry.
That's one that you skipped through, according to Jody's notes.
May I publish the 12:30 to 21 minutes? It's been admitted.
Well, I understand that, but fine. It's fine, but this may or may not have been published to the jury previously. Or do you don't know?
Well, I know the video, in various parts, was. We did speed up a few occasions, just so we could move through it.
And could you please clear your screen of all of the extraneous information on the bottom?
You see the screen, Dr. Martin? Defendants in part.
Judge, is there a limit on how much of this we're going to show? I think there's been enough for the witness to see Mr. Allen's behavior.
Judge, I asked.
And this has been shown to the jury already.
I asked to publish up to 21 minutes. I think 8.
Would counsel approach, please? Could you stop that?
Sidebar conference conducted.
What's she looking for?
There's only 32 seconds left.
I think we're done.
Sidebar conference concluded.
Having been told that that video was from June 20th of 2023, was that the same Richard Allen that you said was oriented to person, place, time of day, and situation?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
Ms. Diener.
Doctor, the interactions that you had with Mr. Allen, either at his cell or in the medical room, may or may not have been recorded. Is that correct?
I beg your pardon.
The interactions you would have with Mr. Allen at his cell, would those be recorded? Did staff follow you there and record your conversation?
Can I have a look at my chart, my notes?
Sure. Take your time. Okay. So where did can I have it?
It was in an interview cell outside his housing.
Okay. And so would that indicate to you that you spent a little more or less time with him than if you were at his door?
More time.
And on that day, did he communicate with you?
Yes, he did.
And would he need to communicate with you in order for you to have an opinion that he was oriented to person, place, time of day, and situation?
Yes.
So would that involve you asking him questions and him providing responses?
Yes.
And so on that particular day, you document that he made a statement to you about wanting to apologize to families of his victims, correct?
Yes.
Did you ask him?
No.
That statement?
No. That was spontaneous on his part. It was, of his own volition.
Okay. When you meet with him in an interview cell, who else is in there with you?
In an interview, usually there are 1 or 2 officers.
Do you know if this particular interaction between you and he was?
I don't remember. All I remember is that whenever he was moved from his cell or taken out of his cell, there was a videotape, he was being recorded.
Okay. And?
So he might have been recorded moving, being brought from his cell to the cell, to the room where medical doctors and nurse practitioners do the assessments and where I would do my assessments.
Okay. So would that be similar to when he would go for a vitals check? Would they do it in the room you're referring to?
Not necessarily. They might do it just near cell side.
But if they?
Because if.
We're doing it out of cell.
Because is it? No, because it is a laborious, it's a time-consuming process and involving officers, etc., to move him and then move him back.
Okay.
So sometimes they might do it just cell side, get him out of the cell, get his vitals, and put him back.
Okay. So let's talk about June 20th, though, of 2023. You indicate on here that he was interviewed in an interview cell.
Right.
And it also makes reference that he was going to meet with Dr. Walla in a few minutes.
Correct.
So would that indicate to you that he had already been moved, either for you or for Dr. Walla?
Yes.
Okay. And so was your interaction with him very different from the interaction you saw in the video?
Yes, yeah.
And you can't explain why that is different, correct? I mean, you don't know why he's acting different there, do you?
You don't want me to speculate, no.
I'm gonna object to the form of the question. She's.
Can you? I'll rephrase.
This is.
Rephrase.
Redirect.
I'll rephrase.
Thank you.
Do you have any explanation for why his behavior in that video shown to you would be different from his behavior when you met with him?
You want me to speculate on that?
No, I don't want you to speculate. Do you have any explanation?
No explanation.
Does seeing that make you believe that your observations were incorrect on June 20th?
No.
Does it make you question your own record about what he said to you on June 20th?
No.
At the time when you met with him?
Not at all. Not at all.
When you first met with, you were asked by Mr. Raziev, when you first met with Richard Allen, did he have existing depression and anxiety, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so would that be considered a baseline condition for Mr. Allen?
When I saw him?
Just like in general would?
Yeah. When I saw him, I considered that as the baseline as far as I was concerned.
Okay. And so you're treating him. At one point then, you see the need for medication for psychosis, correct?
Correct.
And then you discontinue medication. Does Mr. Allen return to his baseline while in your care?
Yes, as of the 2nd of May.
Okay. May of 2023?
Yeah, May 2nd of 23, as far as his psychosis was concerned, and as far as the depression was concerned, he was back at baseline.
You indicated that he was no longer psychotic on May 2nd of 2023, yet his medication for Haldol continued. Can you explain why?
Okay. So the reason why, okay. So.
Brief answer.
Yes. So I want to make sure that there isn't a recurrence, because illnesses have exacerbations and remissions, okay? So I want to make sure that there wasn't any of that happening, and so I kept observing him, and for 7 weeks there was no evidence of psychosis.
And after you started the Haldol and you were visiting with him with the frequency you've already testified to, were you ever contacted by staff that he was in a psychotic state that needed your immediate attention?
Objection. Calls for hearsay.
No, I said was he ever contacted to address a psychotic state?
Sustained. That is hearsay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did you ever need to come to the facility to see Mr. Allen like you did on April 13th of 2023?
No.
No other questions, Judge.
Mr. Razi.
You said that when you talked to him on June 20th, he was spontaneous. He communicated to you spontaneously, right?
June 20th, yes.
Did you see anything in that video that suggested that he was able to?
That he.
Did you see anything in the video?
That he could?
Yeah.
There's nothing there that he couldn't.
Did you see anything that suggested he could?
Objection, Judge. Asked and answered.
No.
Sustained.
Does the video make you question your assessment that Mr. Allen was no longer in a state of psychosis on June 20th, 2023?
Yes.
I have nothing further.
Does anybody on the jury have any questions for Dr. Martin? Thank you. Would counsel approach?
Sidebar conference conducted.
Did the oral Haldol continue to be part of Mr. Allen's medications after June 20th, 2023?
She said oral?
Oral.
The question was oral?
Affirmative response.
Oral continued to be part of.
I don't think he ever said he administered oral.
He did.
Other than the first day?
It's in the record.
Okay, that's fine. I just wondered if it's consistent with his testimony.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said he did.
Okay.
What time did you meet with Mr. Allen on June 20th, 2023?
That's fine.
Based on the video you saw from June 20th, 2023, would his presentation be consistent with feigning?
Good question.
Good question there.
Is it possible for Mr. Allen to slip in and out of psychosis in a 24-hour period?
That's fine.
So when we're done with him, are you done with your rebuttal? And do you have rebuttal?
I doubt it, but if I could just check.
Okay.
That Ito or I didn't, but I don't think so.
Sidebar conference concluded.
Doctor, did the oral Haldol continue to be part of Mr. Allen's medications after June 20th, 2023?
I'd have to look at my notes.
He would need to look at his notes.
Do you want to see the medication record?
Yeah.
I'll get that.
Your Honor, from what date to what date?
Did the oral Haldol continue to be part of his medications after June 20th, 2023?
Yes.
Any follow-up, Ms.?
He said yes.
Yes.
He said yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Diener?
No question.
Mr. Razi?
No questions.
What time did you meet with Mr. Allen on June 20th, 2023?
I don't remember. It was early in the morning.
Early in the morning. John Martin?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I usually go there somewhere around 6, maybe around that time, 6, 6:30, 7, and I see people that I'm supposed to see in that building before I start seeing people on the compound, because the people in the compound have gone for breakfast and it takes some time for them to start coming out from different dorms.
Okay. Ms. Diener?
No other question.
Mr. Razi?
No questions.
Based on the video you saw today, referring to the June 20th, 2023, could his presentation be consistent with feigning?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Ms. Diener? John Martin?
Was there anything about his behavior that would be indicative of psychosis?
No.
Thank you. That's all.
Mr. Razi?
I have no questions. I'm sorry. John Martin.
Is it possible for Mr. Allen to slip in and out of psychosis in a 24-hour period?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Diener?
No question.
Mr. Razi?
No questions.
All right. Thank you, doctor. You may step down.
Thank you.
And I'll take those. I think these are the exhibits, are they not? Yes. If I could have those. Okay. Mr. McClelland?
Judge, the state has no other rebuttal witnesses. The state of Indiana rests.
Mr. Razi?
The defense has no rebuttal. Thank you. The defense rests.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've now heard all of the evidence in this case. As I told you some weeks ago, the next step in the proceeding is argument and instructions, after which you will retire to deliberate. The attorneys and I have a couple of housekeeping matters that we need to attend to, and I'd like to give them the opportunity to have some time to get prepared for final arguments, so we're gonna call it a day. While you are on your own business now the rest of the afternoon, and into the evening, please, remember what I told you about not talking with family, or not talking about the case amongst yourselves, or with anyone else, since you will be under the supervision of the bailiffs. Have a safe and peaceful afternoon and evening, and we'll see you tomorrow morning for final argument. Gentlemen.
All rise.
Jury out at 2:16 p.m.
You may be seated. I did receive, Mr. Razi, your proposed jury instruction. It looks like you also sent that to the state. Have you had the opportunity to review the proposed jury instruction?
Judge, yes, I have.
And, well, go ahead, Mr. Razi, on your instruction.
Judge, I offered up that instruction, I think. Obviously, it goes to the issue of the jury being the credibility of the statements made by Mr. Allen. I understand that. First of all, that language is pulled straight from the Stanger case. I thought that was the name. I think I cited that at the bottom of the instruction. And I understand there's another instruction. One of the patterns is that the jury is to determine the credibility of the witnesses. But in this case, because we have this unique circumstance that involves these incriminating statements, and that there is case law that discusses the two-part test, the first part of which we've already been through, I do think it's appropriate that the defense be able to, I guess you could use the word highlight, or place emphasis. Maybe is a better phrase, on the jury's task with regard to dealing with these incriminating statements. So that's what I'm asking the court to do. Thank you.
Mr. McClelland.
Judge, the state is opposed to that instruction. There's an instruction already talking about credibility of the witnesses, and I think that encompasses that. I read over the stranger sick case briefly once I got the email. I think, actually, there's an additional instruction in the stranger sick case with the instruction that Mr. Razi proposed. I may be reading the case wrong, but I think in the stranger case they also put in there that the court has ruled that those confessions are admissible, and there's another part of the I'm trying to find it, that the court had determined that the confession was voluntary and not improper. I think that was an addition to the stranger, or the instruction from stranger, that Mr. Razi submitted to the court or Stanger, sorry. Booty again, the state's opposed to it. If the court is going to allow it, I would ask them to put the whole instruction from Stanger in there to let the jury know that the court did find that those confessions are voluntary and admissible. But I think the instruction in the jury instructions now, talking about credibility of witnesses, and I'm sorry, I didn't bring the instructions up with me, Judge, but there is a certain instruction there that talks about credibility of witnesses, and how it's up to the jury to judge those credibility of witnesses and statements those witnesses make. I think that's sufficient to inform the jury, Judge.
Is this an actual instruction, or just dicta from a case?
It is not. Judge, we'll move to withdraw. We'll move to withdraw.
Oh, okay.
We'll just move on.
Never mind, then.
Thank you.
So I'll show that it's been withdrawn. I did receive from my assistant the pattern in true tie-in on the defendant did not testify. Let me find it here. And it is the pattern, and it states, no defendant may be compelled to testify. A defendant has no obligation to testify. The defendant did not testify. You must not consider this in any way. So if you want me to give that instruction, rather than the instruction I've provided to counsel, I'm happy to substitute them.
I will.
Out.
I'm sorry, Judge. I think we'll just stick with what's there.
The instruction I've provided.
Yes.
To you? Okay.
Yeah.
So anything else about instructions? We've already settled order of argument, the time of argument. I'll just trust that you will monitor your time appropriately. We probably will take a break after the state does its first final argument, and then come back for defendant's final argument, and it kind of just depends on what time we're at if we're gonna have to break for lunch before the state presents its rebuttal final argument. I just don't know where we're gonna be at. Anything else that we need to talk about on the record, Mr. McClelland?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Rossi?
No, Your Honor.
Judge, I actually have something, just 3 very brief offers of proof related to, of course, the third-party suspect, just in the event that there's a conviction. I don't know why they didn't come, it's probably, there was 2 inmates, one named Richie Davis and one named James Haas. Richie Davis is at Newcastle.
Judge, I hate to cut off Mr. Baldwin, but I'm gonna object to this. This is more appropriately done in their case in chief. They're arrested at this point. This is not appropriate for an offer of proof at this point, Judge.
And you didn't subpoena them, or have me transport them?
Well,
I was just telling him that.
Okay.
I didn't know that Brad had done that.
Oh, okay.
Well, okay, then that's fine. Elvis Fields was properly served a subpoena to appear here. He has failed to appear. I would ask for an arrest warrant for Mr. Fields.
Judge, my understanding, I don't know that I have a role in this aspect of it, but my understanding, an arrest warrant is to order him to appear, and to get him to appear here. Now that they've rested their case in chief, I'm not sure what the point of an arrest warrant is. To bring him here for what? To ask him why he didn't appear, I suppose. But at this point, they've rested, Judge, so I don't know that the issue of a search warrant is gonna effectuate him showing up, or an arrest warrant, is gonna effectuate him showing up for a subpoena.
The offer of proof, Judge, as I just did in a trial in August, can be done at any time. In that case, it was done after we had rested, just for convenience of everybody, so the jury's not being bothered and so forth, and we did an offer of proof after the fact, and that's what Mr. Fields would have been here for, is an offer of proof after that fact. That's what I was gonna have him here. Had he been outside, I would have said, here's my phone number, call me, and then we'll know, when the trial is over, you're gonna come in here and testify. And so I think it's proper for him, he's got a valid subpoena, he was properly served, and he ignored this court's order, so, to appear in court.
And is the offer to prove anything different than what you provided to this court at the August hearing with Mr. Fields?
Well, that I don't know, because I was gonna put him on the stand, this guy, so, having deposed him and so forth, who knows what he would have said on the stand. That's why I was bring him in, so I was.
Well, you have to know what somebody's going to say for a legitimate offer to prove that if the witness was called to testify they would state A, B, whatever, C, D, E, F, G.
Well, that's if I do it, but if he gets upon the stand and does it, that's different. If he gets upon the stand and says, yeah, I know who Brad Holder is and I know that, whatever he might say, that would be on him. If I'm saying it, then I would have to be, as an officer of the court, stating what I think he would say should he testify based upon what he's already stated. But in this case, I wanted Mr. Fields to get upon the stand, answer some questions, and see what he said, which I think is a proper, and if this were a trial, that's exactly what would have happened.
Well, it seems like we are talking in circles. You're asking me to issue a warrant for an individual for their arrest to be brought before the court to be found in contempt of court.
Yes.
For failing to honor a subpoena, when I've already ruled that he would not testify as a third-party suspect, because again, the defense has failed to provide the nexus from all of these individuals. You've provided a nexus of them to each other, but not them to this crime.
Right.
So without that nexus, there's no basis in fact.
And, of course, I agree to disagree.
Absolutely.
With you.
And you've made your record.
But an offer of proof, Judge, he was not allowed, under your order, to testify in the trial with the jury sitting over there.
He is allowed to get upon that stand and answer my questions, and who knows what he might say in relationship that could have opened the door to, for example, if he said, okay, yeah, I changed my mind, I actually was there, but I didn't participate in it. I mean, but here's my excuse about the gum, spitting on, if my spit's found on the girls, here's what I meant by that, I was there, but I didn't, but we don't know what he would have said, that's the whole purpose of him coming in to testify was to do that outside the presence of the jury. He didn't do that, he didn't appear.
Anything else?
No, Judge. Thank you.
All right. Will we be prepared and ready to go promptly at 9 o'clock?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And are you doing closing? Thank you very much. We are in recess. Jody, you can go off the record.
Off record at 2:50 p.m.